What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking the August 31st, 2020 edition of Raw Talk, as it aired last night on the WWE Network, immediately after Monday Night Raw. The show was once again hosted by R-Truth and Charlie Caruso. Not a lot to this episode. This will be a shorter review. For the guests we had on the Hurt Business, who I thought were great. We had on the Riot Squad, who were very good, as well as Angel Garza. I thought it was Angel Garza and Andrade. I guess not. I thought it was both of them, but apparently not. Maybe because Andrade was beat down by Retribution. I don't know. I forgot who exactly was advertised. But they real quickly, Caruso and Truth, that is, before they welcome on the Riot Squad, they discuss Payback real quick, the events that happened at the pay-per-view, as well as R-Truth winning his 39th 24/7 championship on Raw last night. Yeah, his 39th 24/7 title. Fucking ridiculous. They welcome on the Riot Squads, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. I almost said Riot Squad again. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan were on, coming off their victory over the Iconics on Raw, where they had not only earned the opportunity to contend for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles at some point in the near future, but also to disband the Iconics. I don't know why this stipulation was put in place, and honestly, I don't hate it, just because I honestly, at this current point in time, do not give two shits about the Iconics as a tag team. Been there, done that. They're obnoxious to me. Their matches aren't the greatest. So a singles run for Peyton Royce, I don't really give a shit about Billie Kay. To me, sounds exciting, so I don't know where that stipulation came from. It wasn't like, oh, you know, this show isn't big enough for the two teams, so we gotta split them up. They've been feuding for a month. I mean, who really cares? You know what I mean? So the Iconics are no more. It would have been nice to hear from them. I know we saw them on Raw Underground after their split, after their loss to the Riot Squad, where they got the shit kicked out of them, I think by Jessamine Duke, I believe. But we did hear from the Riot Squad. They were elated coming off their victory. And Ruby mentioned that, listen, things are different now than when we were together last. They're actually better, Liv says. Things are different, and they're obviously in a different place than they were a couple of weeks ago when since the last time they were on Raw Talk last month, where Ruby had mentioned that, you know, I got to earn Liv's trust back. We got to get back on the same page. I do really want to be friends. I really do want to make it up to her, but we got to work towards that trust. Apparently, SummerSlam was the turning point after Liv realized, oh, Ruby's not trying to sabotage me after all, which she never was, and she looks like an idiot for not realizing that sooner, but for the sake of the story, I guess it made sense, whatever. But Ruby mentioned in the sense that they're different now, they're a tag team now. No longer are they a stable. They even acknowledge that their third member, Sarah Logan, isn't here anymore. She's no longer in WWE. Not only is she been fired from WWE, she's also pregnant. So even if they brought her back, she couldn't be a part of the squad anyway. Honestly, and I'm going to be completely honest with you here, I liked them as a tag team more. I never really cared about the Riot Squad as a trio. Sarah Logan was good in the ring. Her character was easily the weakest between Liv Morgan and herself. So the fact that it's only these two now, I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's not like it's the Shield, where you kind of need all three guys. The Riot Squad were never booked great. They were kind of shitty heels. They're so much better as babyfaces, in my opinion. I think Ruby's just a natural babyface, as is Liv Morgan. So I like this new incarnation of the Riot Squad. They also tease a new name, too. They tease a new name. Charlie Caruso brings that up. I don't know what it would be, but it does make sense, because Ruby mentions how the last time they were together, obviously their motivations were a bit different. They were bad guys. They didn't mention that. But also she was the leader of that group, which is why it was called the Riot Squad. No longer is she the leader, they're equals. So with that being said, a new name would seem fitting. Ruby does bring up how they've both grown individually and collectively over the last year, and how that's made them stronger as individuals, and they go off to celebrate. So once the Hurt Business, all three members, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin, all show up, R-Truth ditches. R-Truth gets the hell out of there. He doesn't want Shelton to beat him for that 24/7 championship. He's intimidated by the Hurt Business. So MVP says, listen, he's had a plan this entire time. That included recruiting Bobby Lashley. That included recruiting Shelton Benjamin. That has included taking that United States Championship. Now, he said that championship was his. It's his championship, not in the sense that he wants it from Bobby. They're not teasing tension. But in the sense that he paid for that championship. That's his belt. And not in the sense that, oh, I'm a former two-time champion, which he is. One of the longest reigning United States champions of all time. But in the sense that's literally is his belt. He paid for it. Apollo Crews had won it. And now it's in the possession of Bobby Lashley. So Lashley, speaking of whom, says that he's very excited about being champion. These guys have rode together for a long time now, and it would be cool if they add in a fourth member. They tease a female member, which would be cool. I don't know who exactly that would be. While I was watching this show, I looked up the WWE roster from Raw and SmackDown, and maybe there's someone from NXT that would make sense. But looking at the current rosters, no one stands out to me unless they reunite Lashley and Lana, which would be completely terrible. No thank you. No one really stands out to me as being a good fit for that group. Now, maybe Bianca Belair with Montez Ford, but that would require turning Montez heel and Bianca heel, and I just don't think that right now is the time for that. I've heard Ricochet. That would be interesting. I've heard Cedric. I actually like that idea more. But we'll see. I mean, Cedric just pinned MVP on Raw, so I'm not really sure how likely that is. It seems more likely that Ricochet would be the one to turn on Cedric after really not having seen him on Raw much this week. I think we saw him get the shit kicked out of him Raw Underground, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, that would make sense, I guess, at some point. But either way, they had recruited, or rather teased recruiting new members, and how they're always looking to add more gold to their ranks. And MVP said after Charlie asked, anyone with a qualified resume can apply for the Hurt Business. And Shelton speaks up. He says that the Raw Underground concept thing is essentially the Hurt Business's playground after they dominated in Raw Underground once again this week. A very good showing for the Hurt Business on Raw this past Monday night. Despite the fact they lost their six-man tag team match, but whatever. So, that was about it for the Hurt Business. They then welcome on Angel Garza for the final few minutes of the show. And Angel usually will sit next to Charlie, and he almost did before Truth came back in. Truth came back after the Hurt Business left, of course. So he sits next to Charlie, and Charlie would usually say, oh, Truth, would you mind switching with Angel so he could sit next to me? She's been very overly flirty with Angel for a number of months now, dating back to earlier this year, I believe. But after seeing what Angel did to her on Raw this week and last week when he walked off with Demi Burnett and kind of threw Charlie Caruso to the side, and not only that, but when Demi was in danger of being attacked by Retribution, he just up and ditched her. Now, he explained it to her by saying, hey, listen, I had to get the Raw talk, so I left her hanging or whatever. They didn't bring up the fact that Retribution was right there. Probably not the smartest move to leave a non-wrestler in the hands of Retribution who could completely kill this poor woman, you know what I mean? I don't think they brought that up, but, Charlie is not an idiot. She's not a dumb... She's not a dumb woman. She brings up how, listen, I don't want you sitting next to me. I'm not impressed by the roses anymore. You abandoned Demi earlier on in the night on Raw. And she questions, if you can't commit to women, what makes you think that you can commit to a tag team partner? After they almost lost to the Street Profits again on Raw this week. And then she, brings up the old clever line. Oh, do you have a watch, Angel? Do you have a watch? She goes, no, I think he said yes. I don't remember. But she goes, oh, take a look at it because I think it's time for you to go. I think it's time for you to leave. And then he was about to walk off. He didn't leave. They bickered some more about the whole bullshit. And then that was the episode. It was a 25-minute episode. Nothing too noteworthy. I like the Hurt Business stuff a lot. The Riot Squad were fun. The Angel stuff was a storyline progression thing. I don't really care about the whole Angel, Garza, Charlie, Caruso, Demi Burnett love triangle personally. I couldn't care less. But they did further that here, and her acting skills weren't terrible. So I give her some props for that. It was a solid show overall. Check it out right now on the WWE Network, the August 31st, 2020 edition of Raw Talk on the WWE Network. You could also find all my other reviews of Raw Talk right here in the channel in the description box down below. Check out the Raw Talk Reviews playlist and check out all my Raw Talk reviews dating back to June of 2020. June 1st to be exact. So, that's about it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, drop a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content coming up tomorrow here on the channel. Should be episode 353, 354, I think. I think it's 353 episode of #AskGSM, so stay tuned for that. With that being said, guys, have a great rest of your week. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.